Welcome back, fellow cinema explorers. In our last video, we peeled back the surface of Rambo, First Blood, and uncovered 10 strange and surprising facts, from Stallone's real-life injuries to the original tragic ending. But what we've learned is just the tip of the iceberg. Now it's time to dive even deeper and discover the final, most unbelievable secrets. Are you ready? We'll continue our countdown with fact number 10. Fact 10. Rambo was trained to be a weapon. In the film, Colonel Troutman delivers a classic line. "I didn't train him to be a farmer. I trained him to be a weapon." This is more than just a line. It's a tragic truth about Rambo. The film highlights the irony that a man trained for war is now being hunted down by the very society he was meant to protect. It's a powerful commentary on how soldiers are often viewed as a disposable tool, used for a specific purpose and then discarded when no longer needed. Rambo's anguish is palpable, not just from the physical pain, but from the emotional betrayal of his country. Fact 9. The sewer scene was really filthy. The scene where Rambo hides in the sewer was filmed in a real sewer system. Sylvester Stallone had to wade through dirty water and mud, and he later said that it was one of the most difficult and disgusting scenes of his career. The smell alone was enough to make the crew sick, but Stallone endured it to make the scene as authentic as possible. This commitment to realism paid off, as the scene adds a layer of grime and desperation to Rambo's character, showing how far he's willing to go to survive. Fact 8. The film was almost banned. With its intense violence and sensitive subject matter, the film faced the risk of being banned in several countries. In the UK, the film was initially rated X, which meant it could not be shown in cinemas. But after being reviewed and edited, it was eventually given an 18 rating, allowing it to be screened. The film's raw portrayal of violence and the psychological trauma of war was a stark contrast to the clean-cut action films of the time, making it a controversial but ultimately groundbreaking piece of cinema. Fact 7. Rambo had very few lines. Throughout the entire film, Rambo has only about 25 lines of dialogue. Stallone's performance was conveyed mainly through his eyes and actions, which made the character more mysterious and powerful. The lack of dialogue forced the audience to focus on Rambo's emotional state. From his silent anguish at the beginning of the film to his final tearful breakdown. This was a bold move by Stallone and the director, and it paid off as it made the character an enigmatic force of nature rather than a simple action hero. Fact 6. The supporting cast was key to the film's success. In addition to Stallone, the supporting cast was excellent, especially Brian Dennehy as Sheriff Teasle. Dennehy's portrayal of a small-town sheriff who is overwhelmed by a force he can't comprehend was brilliant. The antagonistic relationship between Rambo and Teasle created the tension for the entire film, as Teasle's arrogance and prejudice drove Rambo to his breaking point. The two actors had a palpable chemistry on screen, and their clashes felt real and intense. Fact 5. The author sold the film rights for a low price. The author of the book First Blood, David Morrell, sold the film rights for a very low price. He had no idea the film would be so successful and become a classic of cinematic history. Morrell was an English professor who had just published his first novel, and he was happy to get any money for the film rights. He later said he was shocked by the film's success, and that he would have asked for a much higher price if he had known how big it would become. Fact 4. The original ending was so dark, it had to be buried forever. Can you imagine that Rambo, the hero who left the whole world breathless, was originally supposed to die in the first film? The theatrical version, we know, ends with Rambo collapsing into the arms of Colonel Troutman, sobbing, exposing all the pain of a veteran. It's a bitter ending, but it leaves a glimmer of hope, paving the way for the next installment. However, in the original filmed version, there was no hope at all. After unleashing his fury, Rambo collapses, utterly exhausted and desperate. He trembles, clutching his gun, forcing his own spiritual father, Colonel Trotman, to pull the trigger. A gunshot echoes in the night. Rambo falls, blood gushing out, his eyes vacant and then lifeless. The screen goes black. That scene was fully edited, ready for public release. But when it was shown to a test audience, the entire theater was stunned and erupted in anger. The fierce backlash forced the film crew to do a U-turn in desperation, writing a more humane ending, leaving Rambo alive, wounded but not defeated. Fact 3. The final scene wasn't in the original script. The iconic final scene, where Rambo cries and talks about his pain with Colonel Trotman, wasn't in the original script. It was a last-minute improvisation by Stallone. The original ending was much more violent, with Rambo and Trotman engaging in a climactic gun battle. But Stallone felt that the film needed a more emotional and poignant ending, one that would make the audience feel Rambo's pain and understand his actions. He sat down with Richard Crenna and improvised the scene, which became one of the most memorable moments in cinematic history. Fact 2. The film's music almost didn't exist. Initially, the producers had the intention of not using a music score in the film. The goal was to create a sense of loneliness and isolation, a feeling that Rambo was all alone in the world. But they later hired legendary composer Jerry Goldsmith to write the music, and the soundtrack became an iconic part of the film's success. Goldsmith's haunting, melancholic score perfectly captured Rambo's emotional state. From his rage to his sadness, the music became so iconic that it's now impossible to imagine the film without it. Fact 1. A $15 million film became a $160 million legend. With a budget of only about $15 million, First Blood was not initially expected to be a blockbuster. It was too dark, too heavy, and seemed unlikely to compete with the flashy blockbusters of the time. But then everything changed. Upon its release, the film grossed over $160 million worldwide, far exceeding all predictions. This success turned Rambo from a character who was supposed to exist in just one film into a global icon, paving the way for a series of sequels, comics, toys, games, and even animated shows. From a small project, First Blood grew into a monument, creating one of the greatest action franchises in cinematic history. So, there you have it. We've uncovered 20 unbelievable facts about Rambo, First Blood. From behind-the-scenes secrets to emotional stories, this film is not just an action movie, but a true story about the soldiers who came home. Which of these facts surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more shocking cinema stories.